Alright, my good people of YouTube, welcome and welcome back to Devlog number 7. All of our devlogs so far have been focused on Docs Deathmatch, and while it might look like it's something different today, it is not. What is staring at us right in the face here from the jump is our new map. I say new map, I should say additional map, our additional map for Docs Deathmatch. So this map is going to be in rotation with our first original map. That map is going nowhere. I love it. I hope you guys still love it. But this map right here is going to be joining that one, and we are going to jump right into a live preview and check this thing out right here. Alright, so first, let me start by saying this before we jump into all of the details of this map. This is 100% a pirate ship themed map. And I made this because pirates are one of the most fascinating stories, people, groups, little details of history that I've ever run into. As an artist, they fascinate me, right? The ships, the flags, the weapons, it's just endless, right? Obviously, pirates are, mean and everything, but if you think about all of the Hollywood and entertainment related stuff that we actually do see with pirates, right? Pirates of the Caribbean, One Piece anime, right? You think about video games, it's really not that popular, but Assassin's Creed Black Flag was a great pirate themed game, right? We've seen Sea of Thieves, some games like that come up in the last year or two. But pirate stuff, I feel like, is just one of those undersold sort of themes and storylines in video games, movies, shows, all of it, right? I've always been fascinated by it. And I feel like the stuff that we do get from pirate worlds and pirate legends is normally pretty good. So I wanted to have my own fun with a pirate-themed map here. So obviously, to start out here, we got to look at the ship, right? The ship is still a work in progress, obviously, as the entire map is, right? This is just the initial release of the map. So things will, of course, get updated. They'll get changed. They'll get moved around. Things will get added. But we can catch these zip lines up to the ship right here that will land us up on the top deck, and the whole ship is actually interactable here. So all of this ship, we can kind of go down into the belly of it, right? Even down further. And all of this stuff is, you can jump from side to side, run around. The doors here open to take you outside, and then they'll open to take you back in as well. So the entire ship here, I tried to make the space feel realistic inside, right? We only have one cannon on the inside for right now, this guy right here. So at some point in the future, ideally I'll fill all of these little windows with cannons. But I also wanted to see how the map played to start out. I want to see how much time players actually spend up on the ship here. Again, the whole ship, you can kind of traverse the whole thing, look out, shoot in, run around it, and then when you're ready, you can take a zip line right back off the ship as well. But the entire point of this map is kind of to, my idea at least, is to funnel all of the fighting onto the ship, which is kind of where this zipline system comes in. But this zipline system is basically designed to get you up to the deck of the ship in some fashion or another, right? So even if you're over here on the edge taking these zip lines, you're always gonna funnel sort of back towards the middle of the ship or just down the side. I don't think people will end up taking these zip lines down the side very often because they're gonna be dangerous. You can be shot while you're on the zip line. You can get knocked off of it by rocks, by collisions, right? So these side ones are meant to be a little bit more dangerous, whereas the ones heading up to the ship are shorter, a little bit quicker. And again, we want the fights to happen up here on the ship and inside of the ship. But before I fill out the inside guts of the ship here, I just want to see how the combat actually does play out in here, especially when there's 3-on-3. I think this is going to be complete madness in here. Now, of course, with our pirate ship here, it's sort of docked in this bay, right? We've got these lily pads that it's cutting through in the water. We have these iron gates on the edges and these sea glass walls on the outside to kind of help give us a brighter theme, give us something a little bit more tropical, a little bit more whimsical and fun feeling. But this water actually has some pretty fun detail underneath it, and it's all swimmable water as well. So as you jump in here, your character is actually going to swim around through the vines, through the seaweed. You can come up through the lily pads, but you will run into the ship down here. One thing that I really tried to hit with this water too is, since it is swimmable, I tried to make it so you can hide out a little bit underwater, but hopefully players will still be able to get seen and get noticed as if they're like hiding out down here, so to speak. But again, everything in this game is supposed to kind of funnel you towards the pirate ship in the middle. So I didn't want this water to be too deep, right? As you can see, it's only about maybe 2.5 players deep at the most, if we can kind of get our guy to look like he's standing on the bottom here. I don't know if you could stack a whole nother character on top of him. So this is actually pretty shallow water, all things considered. But again, I don't want people to be camping out in the water, hiding out in these vines too much. So before I added too much texture, too many rocks, too many different, seaweed, coral, and, this sort of decoration stuff, before I did too much of this, I wanted to see how often players will hide out underwater. I think some players will hide out a bunch. Of course, you can still get shot from underwater too. So being underwater is actually a pretty big disadvantage if anybody knows you're there. I might see if I can actually kind of get rid of some of these waves on the top. That way it's a little bit easier to see through the water and shoot through it. But again, you can definitely get shot when you're underwater. And all player weapons work underwater too. The mechanics look a little funky, I will admit that, but I would rather have players' guns work underwater and look like they're shooting at kind of a funky angle sometimes, as opposed to just the guns being completely dismissed under here. Because again, I know someone's just gonna sneak around and hide just like this when they're low on health. So it's important that they're able to actually get shot under that water. Now again, as we sweep around the map here, we can see these outer iron gates. We can see these sea glass walls, which is a material that I had a ton of fun with in core. It's got some really cool reflective properties, as you can see my character kind of getting duplicated up there on the glass, right? But this is just the beginning of this map here, right? I'm definitely going to add more. We'll definitely adjust things going forward. We'll add some more decorations outside of the map so it sort of matches our other map, right? We want to keep the arena feel. This map is much larger than our first map, though. This is the map where I think the argument for Docs Deathmatch being a 4-on-4 or even a 5-on-5 game could be made. That is something that we might experiment with going forward. But for now, we're going to keep it 3-on-3 and just see how this map plays out. Now again, as we're in this bird's eye view looking down on the top of the map, you guys can see the ship. The area of the ship actually isn't that large compared to the whole rest of the map, but these glowing lines that are shooting across the screen right here, these are actually those zip lines. And I just wanted to show you guys, kind of from a brief design point of view, what I was thinking and how I got sort of this movement designed on this map initially here, right? So we obviously have the water sort of through the middle of the map, and then we have our two beach sides, right? One beach, this beach on the bottom is actually thicker, right? It's a little bit thicker. This beach has a lot more surface area to it on this side, and that's because this side over here is the shadowed side, right? The sun is setting over here. I don't want players to hide out in shadows too much on either of the maps, but again, both sets of spawn points here do have a shadowed side of the map, right? Blue team has a shadowed edge, and red team has a shadowed edge over here. But going back to these zip lines, again, I wanted to force everyone to sort of come to the ship, come to the middle of the map and fight out there, right? Ideally, if people aren't on the ship, they're somewhere on the beach shooting up at people on the ship or trying to get there. So that's where this sort of geometric, mathematical, these lines come into play. And there really wasn't any math to it on my part. I just sort of did what felt right and what looked right. But essentially, I wanted to take players from one spawn to the other across the backside of their map, right? But then one of those spawns is also going to take you over to the enemy's side of the map, right? Which is these two running across horizontal, right? These vertical ones here that are sort of slanted on the ends, these are going to take your team from one side of the map to the other really quick, right? These other ones will take you to the middle, but getting to the middle on the enemy's side of the map or stepping over your little barrier, as you can see there's these tiny little curved barriers on each side, right? So stepping over your barrier will give you access on both sides to getting up to the top of the ship. This works in two ways, right? Because one, players that start off on the edges are automatically going to funnel in towards the middle no matter which way they go, right? Unless someone's running out to the corner, which, again, if you have someone up on the deck of the ship, they can shoot you pretty much anywhere on the map, especially if they're up on this upper deck right here, right? Kind of up where the captain's helm is, so to speak. That area is definitely the control point of the map. It's highest up. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to get into this bird's nest. I want to say it's impossible, but I have already seen stranger things in my game coming from the players, so I won't say it's impossible to get up there. If you can get up there, the platform will support you, I guess is the way I can put it. So I don't know if players will be able to get up there. Ideally, they won't, but we'll find out shortly. But in any case, these zip lines also take you away from the ship and into safety, right? So if you're the only one left on your team that's up on the deck of the pirate ship or in the ship, again, you can leave the doors on the side and drop into the water, but being in the water is dangerous. So taking the zip line back towards your team's side and trying to get behind your wall, right? Either coming from the middle here or the middle here and trying to get out here behind your wall can help you link back up with your teammates or even help you switch sides of the map faster than imaginable, right? Because again, you can take a zip line off one direction and instead of zooming across the top this way, you can actually just hide out right behind the wall, zip down and zip across here. All of a sudden you're ready to take the ship's deck again, and you're probably able to link up with your teammates somewhere along here. So this map should have faster movement and more of it. We're going to see how much players like to hide out underwater. I have a feeling I might be getting rid of some of those little kelp vines down there that are kind of clogging up the space, but hopefully people aren't just hiding in those too much, because it does make the underwater environment pretty cool. My good people of YouTube, that is going to wrap up all I have to show to you guys today on this new map. Again, this map will be hitting the game in the live update on Friday, which is tomorrow, the day after this video drops. So you guys will be able to experience this map, run around it for yourselves, and of course, enjoy some rounds in this new arena that we've built. This is subject to change, not before the update, but after, of course. We might add some more details inside the ship, outside the ship, to different areas of the map. But as you guys can see, Docs Deathmatch map number 2 is primed and ready for players. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys enjoy this new map even more when the update comes.